Good afternoon, this is Sid Nadjiwon, Councillor from the Chippewas and Nawash, and we're here at the greenhouse that we very quickly had set up for the purposes of food security during this COVID-19. And the reason that we have put this into place is because the microgreens are so much more nutritious than any of the vegetables that you can get off the shelf today. So back in about 2017, did a fair bit of research on the microgreens to find out that they're anywhere from 10 to 40 times more nutritious than any of the vegetables that we have. So since that time, put a bit of time and effort into figuring out how to grow these efficiently. And this small greenhouse here can actually produce the same amount or more nutrition than what we have in our community garden as of today. And this I'm talking back about 2017 when we actually had the garden up and running and we're growing vegetables all summer long. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to give a demonstration of just how a planting actually goes. So we're starting out with a couple of trays that you can pick up at your local greenhouse, or there's different, even the dollar store carries some of these type of trays. The trays here that I have in the shelf here, these are dollar store trays. They're not as good, but they do work for this purpose. So having done experimenting over time, I found that getting, this is a little bit of the plastic garden fence that you can pick up at many of the greenhouses for doing flower bed edges and whatnot. And I found they work very good in the bottom of the trays because it gives the plants, as they grow, it gives them something to latch onto and keep themselves upright. So that was a little bit of trial and error to find that out. And then I just simply take a double layer of paper towel. Now, when I use paper towel, I'm using a special make of paper towel. This is called Green Source, and it's any of the paper towel that has been whitened with hydrogen peroxide. Now, hydrogen peroxide is there's no chemical to it. It's a natural base. We call it sanitizer. So I use the hydrogen peroxide not only for cleaning the trays. I also soak them in Javex and water, a third of a cup to a gallon, the same as what they recommend for hand sanitizing in this COVID-19. And that's just to make sure that there's no molds or different types of bacteria that may be on the seeds, may be on the trays. So we're just going to place a double layer of the, I'm just going to do this because I'm handling the paper towel there. So we're going to double up that bottom layer. And this just gives the plants something to adhere to once they start sprouting and start to get some height. Then I'm going to take, I've got just a small hand pump with just straight water in it, and I'll totally wet down that bottom layer. Now all of the seeds are done in the same fashion. Very well. Okay, now I don't know whether if we can see here, but we have this is a mixture of seed. The tray on my right is a tray of, these are radish greens. The second tray is red clover, and then we have a tray here of yellow peas. So what I've done here is I've mixed the red clover and the radish green, so I'm going to have a mixture in this growing tray, and I'm actually going to do all 4 trays with the same thing. So at about 8 o'clock this morning, I measured out the amount of seed that I need, and I put them in a container with hydrogen peroxide for a 5-minute bath. The hydrogen peroxide bath gets rid of any mold, any impurities that'll be in the seed, and it also softens the outer shell of the seed. That will make it sprout much faster than if you planted it in the ground. So then I'm just going to take a couple of handfuls of that seed and try and get it relatively evenly spread in that tray. So it's not a science or anything, it's just get it into the tray, get it to the sides. Just try and fill up so that when the greens start to sprout, they're going to come up nice and even. So once I have the tray covered, then I'm going to add another single layer of paper towel on the top of that. So getting these microgreens to sprout is all about the amount of water. So you want to be sure that your paper towel is good and wet, but you don't want it sopping wet, because if you get it too wet, you're going to end up with a mold problem. So that there is a planted tray for the microgreens, and this one will be a combination of the radish and the red clover when it sprouts. Now I'm going to put that inside the building behind me, where the temperature is going to be about 72 degrees. And it'll remain in a dark place. There's no windows in the particular room where I'm going to put it. So it'll stay in the dark for, the radish only takes about 2 to 3 days, and they'll be sprouted into a small sprout. They'll remain in that dark room while they grow. The top paper towel will come off, and they'll grow to about an inch and a half tall. So that's when, once they get that tall, then they come out here, and when seeds are first sprout, and many people eat bean sprouts and sprouted seeds in a jar and that kind of thing because of the amount of nutrition. What they've learned is that once they get to sunlight, then that level of nutrition is taken to a whole different level again. So the purpose is to get them started, get them inch and a half inside, where it's kind of climate controlled, and then it's to get them out into the sun anywhere from 5 to 7 days, and then they're ready for harvest. So that's the process that go through here to get them ready. Harvesting is just lifting them, lifting the whole tray of greens out, cutting them off with scissors, and bagging them, and then they're ready for the food bank. So that's my presentation.